Operation Absolute Resolve. The end of the Maduro era and the dawn of U.S. governance in Venezuela. The fall of the Maduro regime. A deep dive into Operation Absolute Resolve and America's direct governance in Venezuela. In an unprecedented move that has rewritten the rules of 21st century geopolitics, the United States has successfully executed Operation Absolute Resolve, leading to the apprehension of Nicolás Maduro. This intervention represents the most significant American military action in the Western Hemisphere in decades, transitioning from a policy of economic pressure to direct territorial administration. The Midnight Raid. Military precision and technological superiority. The operation to capture Maduro was not a conventional ground invasion but a surgical strike executed with high-tech precision. At approximately 2 a.m. in Caracas, elite U.S. Special Operations units, supported by the USS Iwo Jima and the USS Abraham Lincoln Carrier Strike Group, bypassed Venezuela's Russian-made air defense systems using advanced electronic warfare. According to Pentagon reports, the extraction took place at a secure compound near the coast. Despite years of defiant rhetoric, the Venezuelan military high command, many of whom had been secretly negotiated with in the weeks prior, offered little to no resistance. General Dan Kane confirmed that Maduro and his wife Cilia Flores were detained and immediately airlifted to New York to face long-standing federal indictments for narcoterrorism and corruption. The Petro-Transition. Rebuilding a collapsed giant. The cornerstone of the Trump administration's plan for Venezuela is the total revitalization of its energy sector. Venezuela sits on the world's largest proven oil reserves, yet production has plummeted to historic lows due to years of mismanagement and sanctions. The Governance Council. President Trump has tasked a specialized committee, including figures like Marco Rubio and Pete Hegseth, to oversee a trustee-style government. This council will work closely with U.S. military and intelligence assets to stabilize the country's infrastructure and security apparatus. Infrastructure investment. The plan involves bringing in major U.S. oil conglomerates to repair dilapidated refineries and pipelines. The goal is twofold: to stabilize global energy prices and to use the oil revenue to fund the country's reconstruction without relying solely on U.S. taxpayer dollars. Companies like ExxonMobil and Chevron are expected to lead these efforts, operating under special agreements with the interim U.S.-led administration. The common sense mandate. Trump has emphasized that the U.S. will not leave a power vacuum. "We are going to run it until it's fixed," he stated, suggesting that the U.S. will maintain control until a pro-business, pro-democracy environment is fully established, potentially for several years. Addressing the migration crisis at the source. A primary driver for this intervention was the ongoing migration crisis at the U.S. southern border. The White House argues that the collapse of Venezuela was the engine of regional instability. By establishing a direct U.S.-led administration in Caracas, the administration intends to repatriation, create the conditions necessary for millions of Venezuelan refugees to return home, offering humanitarian aid and incentives for resettlement. Border security. Eliminate the criminal networks and cartel state structures that used migration as a tool of political leverage, thereby reducing illegal crossings into the U.S. The staggering cost of intervention. While the long-term economic benefits of revitalizing Venezuela's oil sector are touted, the immediate financial cost of Operation Absolute Resolve is immense. Initial estimates from the Congressional Budget Office place the direct military and humanitarian aid expenses in the first year alone at over $50 billion. This figure does not include the potential costs of long-term occupation, security stabilization, and rebuilding efforts, which could easily run into hundreds of billions over the next decade. Critics point out that this intervention will create a substantial new burden on U.S. taxpayers and divert resources from domestic priorities. Regional ripple effects and global condemnation. The operation has sent shockwaves across Latin America and the globe. Latin American neighbors, Brazil and Colombia, while acknowledging the humanitarian crisis in Venezuela, have expressed deep concern over the precedent set by direct U.S. military intervention. Brazil's president issued a statement calling for an urgent regional summit to discuss the erosion of national sovereignty, while Colombia has increased its border security, fearing a potential spillover of instability. Global powers. The Kremlin has condemned the move as a flagrant violation of international law and a dangerous return to unilateralism, threatening to review its strategic partnerships in the region. China has also voiced strong objections, emphasizing non-interference in internal affairs. The United Nations Security Council remains deadlocked, with Russia and China threatening vetoes on any resolution that supports the U.S. action. A new chapter of uncertainty. As the stars and stripes fly alongside the Venezuelan flag over government buildings in Caracas, the world watches to see if the U.S. can successfully nation-build in its own backyard. The stakes are immense. Success could mean the birth of a prosperous, democratic energy powerhouse, while failure could lead to a protracted insurgency, a permanent military commitment in the heart of South America, and a further fracturing of the international order.